joining me right now here on the Rich Eisen Show on the phone. Ed, talk to me. What's going on in Pittsburgh? Is that panic button getting hit by the fan base?
The fan base hits the panic button if they lose one game, Rich, and at 3-3, you'd think they were 0-6. You know, Pittsburgh is a city of bridges. There's a lot of them, and I think they have some extra patrols out lately to make sure nobody's jumping off of them.
And so Tomlin did say that he loves those guys, referring to Cowher and Hines Ward. But when it all comes down to it, he doesn't want to hear this sort of stuff. Certainly, he would consider that friendly fire. Yes?
Yeah, you know, I saw Mike the other day, and I said to him, I said, well, you've been in this spot before. And he snapped. He said, doesn't mean I want to be here. Doesn't mean I like it. And that's kind of how they feel. You know, Mike went on, talked to his players, told them in a meeting the other day they weren't tough enough. He called a couple of them out, several of them actually, Rich, at his press conference the other day. It's not something he normally does. So I think there's a sense that they're using a word around here, urgency, and that's how they feel right now because coming off 2 8-8 seasons, this is not a happy place.
Well, they started slow last year, and had there been a 7th seed in the playoffs, as we're expecting there to be starting next year, they would have made the playoffs and been a very dangerous 7th seed to boot. They're starting slow again here. That said, there does appear to be a sense of guilty as charged when it comes to what Cowher and Hines Ward are saying about the team. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely on defense they are soft. They knew that going in, that they were transitioning to what had been a great defense for a number of years, helped get them to 3 Super Bowls and 2 Lombardi trophies, Rich. And, you know, they've flushed a lot of those guys out. And the irony of it all is they felt they needed so much more that they called back 2 of the older guys, both 36 years old, Brett Kiesel and James Harrison. One at the end of training camp and the other once the season started because they need help on that defense. As far as the offense, they thought the offense would carry them with, you know, Ben Roethlisberger. They have the leading rusher in Le'Veon Bell in the AFC. Antonio Brown, 2-time Pro Bowl receiver who's off to his fastest start. And a decent line, but they're not scoring. They're moving the ball all over the place, mostly between the 20s. They're not putting it in the end zone to carry them.
So, obviously, the finger has been pointing at Todd Haley for a long time, ever since Bruce Arians, quote-unquote, retired on the Steelers, Ed. And a lot of folks are wondering if it's Haley's offense not suiting Ben Roethlisberger and that Haley's presence was put there basically to keep Ben somewhat uncomfortable based on what was going on in his off-the-field issues. Things have completely changed, apparently, in Ben's personal life and how this is not working professionally. Is there anything wrong with what I just said? Anything inaccurate? If so, I'd love to know what's different because that's what we're hearing on the national level.
Yeah, the only thing is, Rich, last year they got along and they got off to a terrible start. And then they started putting things together in the second half of the season. They went 6-2. The offense was a big reason for that. Todd Haley allowed Ben to run the no-huddle a lot more than he's ever run it, even under Bruce Arians. And things were going well. And then for the most part this year they are too until they get near the goal line. And that's, I think, what Bill Cowher was talking about when he said they have a finesse offense. He meant mainly when they get down to the goal line. They're not powering it. You know, they're not running any power formations. They're not getting it in the end zone. They're not a tough-minded team when it comes down there. But other than that, I don't see any real schism between Haley and Ben. But you know, if this stuff continues, it'll go back to the way it was 2 years ago when Todd first came here, and those two did not get along at all.
Yeah, they're 31st in red zone offense. Ed, before I let you go, what happens when Monday Night Football hits and J.J. Watt, potentially Jadeveon Clowney coming back, gets on that defensive line to go hunt Ben and or stop Le'Veon Bell from gashing him? What happens, do you think, Monday night here in Heinz Field?
Well, the Steelers are favored, and I can't pick these things anymore, Rich. In the NFL, just when you think you have your finger on something, it goes the other way in a lot of games. But I think you'll see a good representative Steelers team out there Monday night, especially in offense. The defense, it's going to be a mess for a long time, I think. But they are going to make a few changes, personnel changes on defense. They're going with some younger guys. You might see a couple more rookies out there, and we'll see if that helps them at all. But the offense is really going to have to score from here on out, 30, 40 points a game if they're going to be a playoff team.
Ed, thanks for joining me here. I appreciate it.
Okay, Rich, anytime. Thanks.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern, on Audience.